one and only. This is a Local 10 News Update, sponsored by FHIA, Florida Home Improvement Associates.
Good afternoon, South Florida. I'm Christy Kruger. Here's a look at some of the stories making news on this Wednesday, January the 8th. A shooting in North Miami landed one man in the hospital. Police telling us it stemmed from a fight between two guys inside of a restaurant. One of them tried to leave. The other one pulled out a gun and shot him. This is at 125th Street and 7th Avenue. The 24-year-old victim was taken onto the hospital in stable condition. Investigators say the shooter stayed at the scene and is cooperating with the detectives. Fort Lauderdale City Commissioners have now approved funding to replace an aging 54-inch sewer main break in the wake of a series of spills in several neighborhoods. That project expected to cost $65 million and take close to 18 months to finish. Residents did voice a lot of concerns. They're worried about the health hazards if another break happens. More than 126 million gallons of raw sewage has already spilled since that first main broke. That happened in December. And a task force from South Florida is in Puerto Rico right now to provide much needed relief services and resources after a series of powerful earthquakes rocked that island. Florida Task Force number 2 departed from Miami International Airport last night after the island's governor declared a state of emergency. Several homes crumbled to the ground after a magnitude 6.4 earthquake hit that island on Tuesday. There was another big quake on Monday. We know at least one person has died.
Listen to Local 10's podcast, The Florida Files, wherever you are, whenever you want. Just say, Alexa, play the Florida Files podcast.
Getting the latest episode of Florida Files. Here it is from TuneIn.
Previously on the Florida Files.
Or just ask Siri, I want to hear the latest Florida Files podcast.
Here's the newest episode of the Florida Files.
Get the Florida Files on Alexa, Google Home, or Apple devices just by saying play the Florida Files podcast. The Florida Files from the one and only Local 10.
Authorities have now identified that teenager who was shot and killed in Northwest Miami-Dade. Police say 16-year-old Terrence Stevenson was visiting his grandfather on Saturday night, leaving home when someone in another vehicle approached his car and started shooting. He was taken to a nearby hospital, but that's where he died, and no arrests have been made yet. As breaking news happens, we have you covered on air and online. Head to local10.com for more local news coverage and updates all day long.